Well, everybody, welcome to episode number 2. My name is Brian Fox. I'm the founder of Trusted Herd, but also your host of Trusted Herd Live. And we decided to do this series because in the event world, we're all so busy, and we're applying for jobs here and there and all these different companies, but we don't know anything about these companies. And it's nice to hear the entrepreneurial story. So with that being said, I would like to introduce this is actually a very big get for Trusted Herd today, because not only do we have an incredible person, McCall Peck, wonderful agency, Norton National, we also have a brand new mother, McCall. Hello.
Hey, thanks for the intro, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, it's I saw that you said today was BYOB, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure for me, he doesn't mean bring your own beer. I'm pretty confident. But yeah, as Brian just alluded to, hey guys, it's good to see you all. Yeah, we just welcomed our third child into the world on Wednesday, not an April Fool's joke. Seriously. So we officially have a boy on Team Norton National. I mean, Ryan, obviously my husband, but yeah.
No longer just this single man in the house.
I know. He's really excited because he's been outnumbered by girls for like, I don't know how long. So.
Well, congratulations. Thank you so much. And for everyone who's watching right now, I actually asked McCall earlier in the week, and I knew that the due date was around now. And I said, hey, we have this spot for Friday. Would you want to maybe do it? Or we could do it later in the month. And she goes, no, let's do it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they're fine. We won't have a baby. The baby's not due till after Friday.
So, wonderful. All right, here we go. And it is live right now. So, let's figure out a little bit about you, a little bit about Norton National. We did have a ton of people ask some questions too that we'll get to at the end. So we'll run through this list, and why don't we just start? Because I think it's Friday afternoon, right? Everyone's got plans tonight. Everyone's got places to be.
Sure.
Oh, who am I kidding? We can make this as long as we want. Nobody's going anywhere.
Unless he wakes up, and then game over. Sorry.
Yeah, right? All right. So first question. For anybody who doesn't know anything about you, I don't know anything about you. If we just met today,
Right.
How would you describe your company, Norton National, to us?
That's actually not a very uncommon question. And when people ask, I honestly just kind of laugh. I'm like, I don't know, man. What do you need done? Because people just come to us when they need stuff, and we just like put it together. And sometimes it's event staff, as you guys very well are familiar with, and sometimes it's, hey, we're thinking about dropping these little branded parachutes from the top of an arena. Do you know anything about this? And I'm like, no, but I'm pretty sure we can probably figure it out. So that's honestly, people are like, hey, what do you do? I'm like, I don't know. What do you need done today? Because I'm sure that between all of our brains, we can make whatever that is happen.
Yeah. All right. So before you got into event work, what was McCall doing with her life?
Great question. So event work's actually kind of always been a thing. I know that sounds funny. I always joke because I feel like what we do at Norton National is student council on steroids, and all of us in our office, coincidentally, we're all in student council, and we're like, it's like putting on the homecoming assembly. It's great. It's no big deal. But no, what was I doing? So I was going to school, and I was also parking cars valet at the Orleans, and I was working for a wedding venue part-time and doing promotions on the side randomly. My first promo was when I was 18. So it was kind of one of those, you guys know how it is, especially when you're young and starting, like you get this promo job and it's like this weird high and you're like, yeah, I can do this between my other stuff. So I was kind of working promos and kind of parking cars at one of the hotels in Vegas. And I was going to school and just, I don't know, 18 or 19, fresh out of high school, just enjoying being young and having gig money and doing whatever.
Yeah. And who was the first person that got you into doing a promo? Was it a friend, or was it just kind of dumb luck that got you into it?
It was actually a friend. Her name is Sarah, and we were like laughing about it because she had been doing promotions, and like I said, like our industry is very well more known now. But beforehand, like you either knew it existed or like you didn't know there was this promo world. So you're like, oh, those people don't really work for those companies. Like you just don't know that. And she was going out to the Speedway for NASCAR here in Vegas.
Okay.
She's like, hey, do you want to come work a gig with me and do some promotional work? And I'm like, wait, what are you doing? And
people putting their fingers in your schedule and on that front.
Got it. So yeah, and I just didn't enjoy when people put their fingers in my schedule because I felt like they had no value or appreciation for my time. And so when I would see agencies start doing that to me or clients doing that to me, and they would just do it to the other people, it was like there was no big deal, and there's no, not that there's no reprimandation for it, but there was just nothing. Like if you were the talent or the person working, it was just like, well, I guess that's what it is because I can't not make it be that way. And so that was kind of a like if you ask Maddie or anybody in the office, McCall's real big on no. If the talent message you something, respond to them. If they have questions, you've got 24 hours to get back in touch with them because they're like the face of what's happening. And I think that was that. I'm so long story short. When we started doing things our way and we started bringing on a team and doing things, I was like, we just have to do things a little differently because these people are not a dime a dozen. Like they have a name and they are the face in front of your client when you have a name. Like client, you need to please them all day and do what you need to do for them. But there was like I just felt like people were ignoring this group of the people you relied on for your business to work.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think, brand ambassadors have names, right? And personalities, and they represent your clients and really your own business out in the field. They're critical.
Yeah.
So McCall Peck, but the company is called Norton National.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
So my maiden name's Norton. I'm not going to lie. I was having like major name separation issues. I asked Ryan if he would take Norton, and he's like, no chance. I'm like, okay. So fine, I'll just name the company Norton National. It's fine. So that is how that came. That's true. In fact, I even thought about hyphenating, and he's like, no. And I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I jokingly laugh about my name because it sounds like the bird and the action. And I was just like, can we please just be Nortons? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So Ryan won that battle. It's fine.
Good stuff. And the logo or the pink, where did either one of those come from?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting story. So back when I was like making this company, like all those tribal arrows were like so in style, and like the coral pink and like was like a thing. And we have a friend and his name is Raymond, and he does a lot with like graphic design and like intense, like builds people's landscapes and backyards and 3D walkthroughs. And I was like, Raymond, I need a logo. Can you do something? He's like, yeah, what do you want? And I'm like, just my name, a pink arrow. And like, I think I thought in my head he was going to send me this totally spruced up, groundbreaking, cool thing. And this is exactly what he sent me. And about a week later, he actually had a fluke heart attack and passed away in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. That was, that killed us. That was one of Ryan's best friends from high school. His sweet, sweet wife. And you'll get the feels for this because you're a dad, obviously. They had a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. And I was just like, and it was just like, I couldn't ever change it after that. Like, not only that, actually, now the pink, like we're Team Pink, it's what it is. We've embraced it very well. But yeah. So there was a guy named Raymond who we have known forever, and he had a fluke terrible heart attack and died at the age of 28.
Oh my
with
gosh.
2 kids. So that's kind of sad. So don't get sad now when you look at the pink, but it's like I would never change it now. Yeah, it's the last thing Raymond worked on. And just like pop, he was like, hi, here's this. I'm like, great, thanks.
Yeah, but now it has extra meaning.
Yeah, totally.
Which is wonderful. Okay, so we got the business license, we got the logo, we got the name. Yep. First client.
Yeah, so we had formerly had a book of clients, not as Norton National. Like I said, we whether it was when I was working promos and they're like, hey, do you have your friends? And then it slowly became a word of mouth of, hey, we're going to Vegas and we need this weird thing done. Do you know somebody? And it's like, yeah, there's this girl McCall and she makes weird things happen. It's fine. So I had taken that book of clients that I had kind of cultivated during that time into that partnership. And then obviously when I exited the partnership, they chose to stay with us. And then a few from our former arrangement came, but some of like our first bigger clients, if you will, like we worked a lot with the mascot organization. That was a big deal for me. Oh my goodness, because they would come to Vegas. We love them. They have a love for us. Yeah. We have a great relationship. But like, yeah, anything they couldn't staff, they're like, hey, McCall, we need like 42 people. And I'm like, great. And that was like my highlight event of the year. That was my big one until Monster Jam came. And then the world changed when Monster Jam came.
Was Monster Jam like the first client where you go, oh my God, I think I kind of made it a little bit here?
Yeah, what's funny is, and we call it the Monster Jamily. because it's like a family, like the people at Feld Entertainment, like it's such a corny thing, but they consider us part of the Jamily because we go on the road with them and all that stuff. Prior to that, I don't even know if I really ever paid attention to what Monster Jam was. I hate to say that. That sounds terrible, but I didn't know. And when they had reached out, coincidentally, they were looking for mascots. They're like, hey, do you know anybody who does mascots? I'm like, yeah, my big show every year is the mascot organization when they come to town for the licensing expo. I mean, we had done some stuff with Metro PCS and we had done some stuff with, random one-offs and whatnot, but they came to town and it was only during World Finals, which used to be held in Vegas. And when they came to town for World Finals, it was like this massive order for me. And it was just me. And I was just like, whoa. I mean, when you have one organization ordering 50 people from you for a 2-day event that are all brand ambassadors. In addition to that, they're like, hey, we also want to put on a flash mob. Hey, also on Thursday, we have this Make-A-Wish event. And I need 15 mascot characters that are dressed up with handling. And they have like 6 different appearances. And oh, hey, it was like, because they do a lot of pre-event work to their actual events. So like this one weekend that came annually was like more than 2 or 3 times what I was billing for the collective, all my other business for the whole year put together. And it was like, oh, and then they got a title sponsor that went on tour. And so it was just like this, went from doing this a few years in a row with them to, hey, we have a title sponsor. We're thinking about doing brand ambassadors at all of our events. Do you think this is something you can do? And I'm like, I'm confident I can figure this out because that's what do we do? I don't know. What do you need done? You know what I mean? So that's, and then it just like Feld just kept growing. So I think Feld was definitely the key company and client that we had that allowed us to be able to take this to a company where it was like, I need an employee and I need help. And that's when that was that leg for sure.
Okay. So on that front, right? I mean, Feld comes in, Monster Jam, all this business, a lot of people or a lot of moving pieces. It's maybe just McCall, maybe Ryan's helping a little bit. Friends, family. Yeah. Team is obviously critical to scaling any business. Can you tell us about your team and what you appreciate most about them?
I appreciate everything I didn't know that I needed about a team, about every one of them. They are, they're wonderful. Those group of girls, by the way, we're not just like pro girl. We like boys. It's just girls that hang better. I don't know what the deal is. Those girls will put their blood, sweat, and tears into anything they support and leave a little sparkle to it. And that's not an easy thing to do. Like it's just not. I mean, we've had some great people come and go, and it's just part of the fluidness of, I think, any industry. I don't care if you're in a dental office or if you're putting on events. People progress, they grow, they have life-changing things, they have to relocate. It's, things happen. But I got to tell you, Maddie, I love Maddie because she's like the perfect complement to me. Everything that is so important to me that I just don't want to do, Maddie like loves. Maddie wants to organize systems and she loves the tedious little behind the scenes. Why do you think she does all of everyone's paperwork? Because she's like, oh, section 15 of 92 of this is missing your initials here. And I'm like, great, Maddie, go, you go figure that out. You streamline that, Maddie. And so, but Maddie is just so, and Maddie is so corporate brained. That's just how she went to UNLV School of Hospitality and Management. She kind of got groomed in a very like corporate space. And then she came and worked for me and did an internship for me. And here I am throwing noodles at the wall. Like, I wonder if I can make this work. And she's like, what is going on here? And I think we're good for each other because we're like a really nice balance of one another. And then, gosh, no, all of them are great. Carly and Jordan, those girls are just always smiley and they're real snarky, like not in a bad way, but behind scenes, people give them attitude, not even a talent, just like when they're working with clients and they know how to deliver and what they need to deliver and do it with a big, huge smile on their face. And also be like, remember that one time? And so it's just like, it's like a family. And then coincidentally, even though she's our newest member, Katie, I've actually known Katie the longest out of all of them. I have been trying to recruit Katie my whole life of having Norton National. I wanted her to be my first employee and it just didn't make sense. And I met Katie. So she is an event soul as well, and she's from California, and she moved somewhere else. And then we used to have a soccer team here in Vegas that was called the Las Vegas Legends, and it was indoor arena soccer, and she worked directly in-house for them. So as many of you know, the other side of what we do besides like this staffing and this marketing and this promo world is live event productions, video operations, conversions, more of that like industrial and like behind the scenes to make the video side work and the live house side work. And Katie worked directly for them, and she was my point of contact. They hired us to do their game day operations and logistics for the arena and also like for TV. And she was just like this workhorse that was like happy all the time. And I was like, I love you. And she just could get anything done. And it's hard to find that personality in people where people are like solution driven people. Like it's just sometimes that's just a hard feat to find, and people who can do it with a smile. And so Katie and I worked together on that soccer season. And then she was randomly like, hey, if you ever have random gigs and you need flyer drops done, like I'm happy to help out. When Ryan and I got married, I actually like,
oh, tell me more.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so for a few years, she did a lot of like just side stuff and promo stuff. But like when Ryan and I got married, we picked a really inconvenient time to get married, coincidentally. And I was gone for 3.5 weeks, and I came back on a Tuesday, and that Thursday was Monster Jam in Vegas, my big event. I literally gave Katie my computer, and I was like, going to Mexico to get married, and then I'll be in Peru for 2 weeks. Here's a list of all of our events. I have international Wi-Fi. Call me if you need me. You know what I mean? And she ran my whole business for me. Well, I mean, granted, it was substantially smaller, nothing going on at that point. I mean, It was very, very small. But so Katie's been a piece in my life, and I'm like, when can we get Katie here? And then we got Katie here, and I'm like, game changer. Katie's here. Woo! So that's a little bit about the team.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So with the team, and you've grown Norton National to where it's at today, do you find that you have certain habits that maybe have made you successful?
Yes. Well, I mean, I like to think so.
Sure,
I'm pretty brutally honest and pretty bluntly honest, usually always, which I think is actually a feat that not everyone does, which sounds bad, but I mean, my brother has told me my whole life. He's like, you're about as subtle as a gun, McCall. Like, not in a bad way, but just if somebody says something, if I don't understand something, like I'll genuinely ask, like, wait, I don't get it. How does that come to be? You know, because I have to understand everything. But I think that I really think that like communication is like huge in any relationship in life. And because of that, and because of like also working with my team and having like clear expectations equal meta expectations, and having like team meetings and goals, and making sure that you're like a family, like I think some of those are just really important things to try to cultivate the relationship and the lifestyle of what you want to like extrude from your company. I just there's a girl named Amy that does a lot of consulting sort of stuff, and she's great, and I love her. And she's the type of person who's like, hey, so now that you're an entrepreneurial, like you're running a company now, like these are your HR guidelines, don't say those things, McCall. I'm like, got it. But she's the one who's always like, clear expectations equal met expectations. And she knows that with our company culture and like making a family, that it's just like, if my team and my staff, and not even that, it extends to our brand ambassadors, like you guys are going to go lay in the trenches. Seriously, sometimes you get in the face of one of our clients and I'm like, whoa, that didn't go how we thought it was going to go. And you do it with a smile. And then you call me and you're like, let me tell you everything that happened in the field today, McCall. Yeah. I think being a family and just being real with people and not being afraid to have that conversation of, hey, so what really happened today, versus like having this whole corporate feel of, please call extension number 2 to put your concerns in today. I think that is one of our key feats, that we're just like, we're real humans. Like, hi guys, I just had a baby 2 days ago. I'm absolutely taking this from my bed right now because Brian called my husband and was like, yo, is McCall getting on this? I'm like, yes, I'm coming right now. I think being real and just valuing your people and having that appreciation for them is just which has nothing to do with business. I know that sounds funny. It has nothing to do with business, but I think that's what helps make it better.
Yeah, no, it's such good perspective.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Where do I want to go? How about this one? One or some of the biggest lessons you've learned along the way?
Every day is a lesson, Brian. Oh my gosh. Man, that's hard. So very, very honestly, like everything I didn't know, because like I said, I was like, oh, this is great. Yeah, I've got friends. You want to open a business? Sure. You think you'll hire an employee? Sure. Oh, I didn't know that. That's a thing, huh? Oh, okay. Um, I think some of the hardest lessons, I mean, there's anything with business in general is just a lesson unless somebody hands you like a textbook. Seriously, like even things I didn't know, like when you hire somebody, you actually have to notify specific like agencies that you've hired people. I'm like, why? Wouldn't they start seeing that we're paying taxes on these people? Like, I mean, just things like that that I didn't know. But I would say for me, because it's like the personal side of stuff, which is where I think I learned the most from, I think it was interesting the lesson I learned. This is sad, guys. Well, it's not sad. It's just, I think if some of you will get it and some of you guys will be like, oh, this is first world problems. People don't see things from the business owner's point of view ever. And I thought that would be more prevalent, especially with like the people who are in your bubble. I, the first few years of this I always joke about blood, sweat, and tears, but that's like what we call it because it was just me and I was working from home and I had 2 newborn children and I had a husband and I was trying to make it work and trying to grow it so that way I could financially afford to pay to have somebody to help me.
Yeah.
And it was like a long, dark tunnel for a bit. And then friends want to know why you can't make it to things. Or like, it's just like, they don't like, they support you when it's going really well, or when it's not going really well, they're like, oh, that's cool. How's your little business going? And it's just like, it was like demoralizing to be like, oh, that little business that I this is what I'm sacrificing time with my family and time with everybody because I want to grow this. Yeah. I think that was the hardest and roughest lesson to learn, that not that people aren't happy for you, because I genuinely believe people are happy and they're usually supportive of the team. But I don't think people who are so close in your bubble sometimes see changing. And this happens not even just in business. Like if you decide to do the marriage thing and you have a buddy who doesn't want to do it. Or sometimes with the kid thing, like I'm sure when you came to dadhood, you're like, huh, that's interesting. Our group of friends changed to people who want to have birthday parties for 1-year-olds. When did this happen? Well, it happens in business too, but it's just more emotional because having a business is like having a baby, and you put your ego on the line, you put your pride on the line, you also put your vulnerabilities on the line, and the people who are closest to you just will say things, and you're just like, oh, okay. And then like you go home and I'm like, is this a mistake? Is this wrong? Should I stop? And it was like, I think there was a lot of self-growth in there that was, I mean, there was a lot of business growth in general, because like I had no idea how to forecast and job cost and coding and QuickBooks. Like, what does that even mean? And I know those things now, but that was definitely, and probably still is definitely, the hardest sector of like the life lessons learned of, oh, you need different friends for different reasons. And it's okay to have like a mastermind of business-minded people to be your people who you go to when you have problems, and you stop relying on your high school best friend, because you're just it's not about being in the same headspace. It's just, they don't, if you don't have a kid, you don't know what it's like to have a 2-day-old. You just don't know, So that was probably, I think that's the one that probably is like the most roughest one for me, for sure.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, you can't be an expert in everything, right? And that's why you need those people around you. But you're consistently trying to learn to make things better and understand them more. So, all right. How about this? If you were to restart Norton National from square one, right? Knowing what you know today, is there anything that could have gotten you to where you're at today faster? Like one thing that sticks out? God, I wish I just knew that.
No, no. I would like to say yes, but I would be lying to you, because it's so easy to look hindsight. Like in my brain now I'm like, yeah, I would have hired that first employee a long time ago, because like 1 + 1 = 3, like no joke. And then all of a sudden 3 + 1 is like 6. And you're like, oh, this is going. But on the reverse side, I don't know if I would have been disciplined enough. Like if I would have done it sooner, I don't know if I would have been disciplined enough to be like, okay, do we have structure for this? Do we have, like I said, because remember Maddie, sweet Maddie, right? Maddie wasn't a thing at that point. And so it was, running and operating out of my house. So, I mean, the first thing I think of, because, I talk about time and whatnot, I think it would be probably hiring that first employee faster, but bringing in more overhead expense, even though it's something to help you produce potentially more clients, doesn't necessarily make you get, like, it's a risk. That was scary. First employee is always the scariest. But if I had to pick something, maybe that, but I think every life lesson and everything we've learned along the way is just, it was needed in due time, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the journey, right?
Oh boy.
And figuring it out.
Yeah.
All right, so we have 3 more questions, and then there were a couple audience ones. Real quick, because we didn't touch on this, but I think it's really important to your business, and I kind of think it speaks a little bit about your relationship with Feld. How big is relationships in this business?
Oh, relationships are the key to everything. Like, I know that sounds, and people say that, like, I am a natural communicator, not like, oh, I'm gifted. No, just like I am a talker, and I like to talk to people, and I can read people's body cues when they're not liking things. If you do not have a relation, like who was it? Somebody said this to me one time. Oh, I know. Okay, I remember exactly what it was. So I had a friend who had been running a business, and I had worked with a different client, and the client's client now wanted to work with me, and I just felt like I was cutting them out of the loop.
Yeah.
And I felt like shady about it. I really did. And so I asked my friend, I'm like, what do you feel about this? Because they're contacting me directly. And I was like, I don't want to bite the hand that fed me. Like, seriously, because not only that, like, this could ruin potential relationships with other. And he told me, there's no such thing as stilling business. You're earning your business. Which, just so you know, it makes me feel better on a rainy day when I hear that. I still did not do it. Just so you know, I contacted that person back. And I was like, hey, your first point of contact was that person. You should probably go back to them. And then I felt like I did my due diligence or whatnot. But I just went on a scroll. Wait, what was the question? I'm so sorry.
Relationships.
Yes, relationships. Yeah. So, but that speaks mounds because of that one singular act, they came back for more, and then they knew that there was a trust factor there, and they had no problem continuing to send people my way. And so it was kind of like you can't still business, you're only earning business. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, people are going to do business with who they want to do business with. Yeah. And it's not even just from my side to like the client side. Brand ambassadors, don't lie to me. You guys have favorite agencies that you love working with. And if you get booked for something and then your agency, your favorite one, calls you, you're probably going to be like, hey, I've had it. I have no hard feelings. Hey, I'm really sorry I can't work this event, but I've got like 4 great replacements, because you have a relationship with them. Like relationships are just what make the world go around. And I think especially in business, whether it's us to the talent or us to the client or vice versa, that's like, it's a huge, huge portion and a huge thing. Absolutely.
Yeah. I completely agree. One piece of advice for event workers in general, if you could say anything right now, what would it be to them?
Oh, do your job and do it with a smile. If you don't like it, then don't do it, but tell us. Seriously. There's nothing worse than people who it's not that they want to work. I appreciate the hustle all day, because I mean, like, look at what we do. What do you do? I don't know. What do you need done? You know what I mean? But like, if it's not a fit for you, like, tell us. Communication, like, hey, this isn't a fit. Hey, actually, I don't think I'm a good fit for this program. Just adding an event to your resume, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help you. If you hated it, now the client doesn't think it was wonderful. It makes us potentially not hire you again. So my advice is, like, just do it and do your job and be there. Like, it is such a cool, unique environment to be in space that we work in, where it's like, you get to go hang out to talk to people and be pleasant. And sometimes you're giving them away free swag or free alcohol. Like, how terrible can this be? Get off your phone. Yes, actually get off your phone and just sit there and chat for your 2 to 6 hour event. And if you're doing a trade show, great. Be there for the trade. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, it's like, just do the job, do your job. Yeah. And also, I hate when people call it gigs. It's not a gig. Like, this is actually what you're doing for a profession, like, to make a living and a livelihood. Act that way. Like, act like you could be fired for this, or like leave that lasting impression. And it's not because it's like a threatening thing, but because agencies will notice that. And guess what? We're going to call you, and we're going to make our way to your favorite list, and you make your way to our favorite list. And we won't even post certain bookings. We'll just call them like, hey, you free? We got this thing in like 6 weeks. Yeah, you got it. Great. Boom. Just, it gets everyone everywhere further and faster, for sure.
Yeah. And smile.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Norton National, great company. Give you a little bit of a shout out. Very well reviewed on Trusted Herd. Always getting the shout outs of all the workers in the office, which I know Norton National and McCall really love, and the people in the office too. How about the people that want to work for Norton National after watching this? And where can they go? How can they find you? What do you look for in talent?
Yeah. Well, you can find us basically anywhere, because I don't ever not answer my phone. Just be straight. Just so you guys know, that number that calls when you call me, Yes, it's my personal phone. It's the same number I've had since high school. So that will always be there. You know how to find me. You guys can stalk me. It's great. No, just you can obviously, we're actually revamping our website to make it easier to get like into our systems and whatnot. But I mean, anybody who's does this, you guys pop us an email, put us, obviously be on Trusted Herd, because we post stuff on Trusted Herd, and that's how we can find you and review you and rate you. But yeah, I mean, you can call us, you can email us. I mean, we all have phones, we all answer them. And then we really do go into, you know, performance. We work a lot with our clients and with obviously team leads to get feedback. And we appreciate the feedback. That's why we like looking at your platform as well, Brian, because the feedback's true. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times we would complain about this girl's resume is a football field long, and she got on site and we were promoting Coke and was like, hi, would you like some duct tape today? And you're like, how did this happen? Like, how did this person get booked for this spot? You know what I mean? So do your job, be smiley, turn things in on time. Like, I mean, I don't know if you have a recap report, just do the recap report. If you're not going to do it, let somebody else be the team lead. And that's just do honestly, the bare bones minimum that's asked of you. And you'd be surprised at how quickly that becomes like, we love them. Keep going with them.
Yeah. It's all about building that relationship, right?
Yes.
That's it. Bringing it back. Yeah. Okay. How about this? I love your story because it kind of reminds me of a typical entrepreneur story. It's like nothing is given to you. You've earned it. You've taken all the proper steps along the way. And every time you're dealt a set of cards, you figure it out, right? Because you have someone named Maddie in your life.
We try. I mean, I'm like, this is like, honestly, there have been times where clients have called us and Maddie, like, I'll get off the phone and she looks at me and she's like, well, this is going to be interesting. Now you plan on pulling this off. I'm like, I'm not really sure, but I'm confident that we can figure this out. So that's a normal conversation in our office.
That's good. Got to have that open dialogue. Yes, if there's somebody watching this today that's thinking about starting their own event staffing or event company and they haven't done it yet, what's like the first piece of advice that you would give them?
Call McCall and she'll give you the little cheat sheet step by step of how to file your business license. No, I'm serious. I would say I think a lot of times people who are in business in general because they love the hustle of business, you lean on them, mentor them, call them, because this sounds weird, sick and twisted, just like new parents love talking about their kids, or when people get this brand new car and you want to talk about your car. When people call you and you have a business and they want to talk business, you're like, yes, let me clear my schedule. What do you want to talk about? Oh, you want some insight? Call us, because I actually, at least for me, from my point of view, I just don't believe there's going to be competition no matter what people do. There's going to be 1,500 other companies that are doing everything that you're already doing. You just got to build your relationship and do it your style, and your people and your clients and your tribe will come to you. But don't be afraid to actually call people and reach out to them. That's a fun thing. That's a fun thing for people like us, because I know I have my people that I call out to that I'll be like, hey, so I'm at this next step. What did you guys do at this time? And you would be surprised at how many of them are more willing to open up and talk to me and be like, oh, like there's a company called V Squared Events on the East Coast. Coincidentally, their owner is best friends with the wife of Raymond, my logo, who passed away. So like, funny that this is like how we're on opposite coasts and know one another. And Nikki, I remember when I called Nikki, I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about bringing on my first employee. You got a couple minutes to talk? And she's like, yes. Called me immediately, and she's like, just do it. She's like, once you do it, you're gonna be like, great, I want to find a way to hire everybody and delegate everything out. Guess what? I absolutely feel that way now. But it's just they are just a wealth of knowledge, and if not, sometimes they've got a few like, hey, this might not happen to you, but this is a speed bump I went through. Just put your hazard lights on, so I would honestly say just reach out to those people. And do we all know the answers? No, because the odds are most of us made this up while we were going along the way. But most of us are really, really happy to share our story or be like, hey, that didn't work out for me. So if you can figure it out, I would be really grateful if you let me know how to figure that out. So it's like a club, but a circle of people who like will blab information at you. It's cool.
Yeah. That's my favorite thing about the entrepreneurial community is that you get a lot of people who are, hearts of gold and want to see other entrepreneurs, whether they're in their own industry or different ones, succeed. And a lot of the times we've made the missteps already, right? And so anything that we can do to share that feedback with someone to try a different path or a path that we wish we took, that's great advice all around.
Yeah. And then also I think too, there will come a time where, and I'm sure Brian, you probably have a story where you're going to have that friend, like the emotional hard part that I grew through. And you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting this swipe or the family or the support. And it's interesting to have somebody that you can just be vulnerable with and be like, hey, I really want to do this, but I feel like I'm being selfish because everyone around me is making me feel selfish. Is this selfish or am I not being considerate to others? And it's just interesting to be able to ask somebody that question who's actually lived that to get input.
Yeah.
Which, or having just like you said, it's like our own little anonymous group, Entrepreneurs Anonymous or something, you know what I mean? Like having like that, the weird support for because if you guys think that every day I'm like, this is perfect. I love running a business and I know all the answers. No, I absolutely have no idea. We make it up as we go every flipping day. And it's been nice to have people that I'm just like, so I'm thinking about this, or I think you actually were one of my first phone calls, coincidentally, after like we fired our first client. And I was like, do I do this or do I not do this? Because you just don't know. You know what I mean? And it's nice to have that little, like you said, like that community for sure.
I'm also in that club. Yeah, probably why the advice was received.
Yeah, I didn't know I'd be part of that club one day. And then I got there and I was just like, we fired a client, Brian. You're like, ooh, I've done that. That's not easy. I'm like, I'm sick right now. You're like, how sick? I'm like through the roof sick about it right now.
Felt the same way. Okay, so a couple of audience questions, and then we'll wrap it up so you can get back to being mom. All right, so question from Mr. John. Curious if Norton has work opportunities outside of Feld Entertainment. Don't get me wrong, I love Monster Jam, but I'd love to work for Norton National more often.
Yeah, no, of course. So obviously the bulk of Feld is a huge portion of things that are on our plate because they own Monster Jam and Disney on Ice and Sesame Street Live. And they've actually continued to be like, hey, because they're one of our first clients. They were like, hey, you think you can do this flash mob? I'm like, I'm sure we can figure it out. Hey, you think you can do labor? I'm like, I'm sure we can figure it out. But yes, so we actually have a pretty strong book of other clients. Most of them are trade shows, or we kind of call them like one-offs that are nationwide, like when Johnson & Johnson hits their baby trade shows and whatnot. But we do a lot here in Vegas locally with kind of a different branch. It's definitely more of our guerrilla efforts and street teams, if you will. We do a ton of flyer drops and street teaming and, just like the more at-home marketing and consulting side of creative branding. So there are more opportunities. Yes. Sorry if you feel like we have forgotten you or ignore you, but it tends to be sometimes when people, like if clients are coming to us for one-off events and more specialty or the nightlife events and whatnot, tend to have to handpick certain people for certain markets, or it's like, ooh, we're so far away from that market. We need to go right. Like who are top 10 that we tend to usually use in that market. So yes, there will always be an opportunity. We will get more of them, I swear. But yeah, a lot of those touring programs are the bulk of where I think most agencies, especially on the staffing side, will have a lot of things going on.
Sure. Okay. Next question. You guys are so quick at processing paper check payroll. Is there any chance that direct deposit might be coming? Or have you looked into it?
Potential. Oh, of course we've looked into it. We've looked into everything under the moon. Yeah, that quick payment thing is a thing for us. That was one of my things is when an event was done, I would just pay the talent. Back when I had like this business and I didn't know what I was doing. Because the way I saw it, you did your job. It is my job to collect money from the client. That is not your job. That's my job. You did your job to your obligation here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I've always we used to run it weekly, but then as Monster Jam grew and Supercross grew, running checks weekly got unrealistic because you guys, some of you in California and Florida were working 8 weeks in a row with us. I'm like, to cut you guys a check every week is getting ridiculous. Like, so we moved to like an every other week thing just because the manpower it took for somebody to sit there and enter each vendor bill, la 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 la. Direct deposit is a consideration. It's a consideration. We're not opposed to it. There's a lot of weird business behind the scene things to it that are just like not as attractive. Going in and having to reset up accounts, even though it can be directly set up, or the certain company that you want to work with and the percentages they want to do things on versus us doing it in-house and then having the control to edit checks immediately versus waiting for the payroll company. There's like pros and cons to both sides. So it's we revisit it every quarter, just so you know. We end up still not doing it every quarter, but it's not because we don't want to do direct. Not only that, a good chunk also of a lot of the people who do work for us may not have banking accounts. So we do a large amount of conversion and day labor. And sometimes traditional people working in that demographic are not people who tend to have bank accounts. And they might have more like cash apps and things like that where it'd have to go to a card. And there's so many different ones and they all don't have the same platform, or they don't have, all their banks don't support this or that it's easiest just to give a check because it's like universally accepted regardless. Yeah.
Yep. On that front, you guys started doing labor stuff this year, correct?
I'm sure we can figure it out. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all the audience questions that we have, and we went through our questions.
Yeah.
Anything, McCall, that you would like to leave to the people? I think one of the things we're also going to start doing with these videos is sharing it in the brand ambassador of Facebook groups of like the headquarter home state as well as the biggest metropolitan market. So obviously that would be Vegas. Anything that you would like to share to everybody, kind of as a parting word?
Yeah, no, thank you guys for what you do. I seriously, I just thank you so much for what you guys do. We, like I said, when you first start growing these little wild hair ideas, it's great. Ryan just walked into the room, and so I just feel like I lost my entire train of thought. So I was like, my husband's here. Hey, Ryan. No, just thanks to you guys and for the talent, what you guys do. We obviously work our butts off to try to maintain these relationships with clients, not just because it's the clients, but because we can work on fun things. And we all had a dream of working in the event industry. But you guys do what you do, and you go out there and you're an extension of us. So for those of you who are always like Team Norton National, or you're in the family, or we've absolutely sent baby gifts out to you guys, or when people have passed away, like remembrance things, and you guys have sent us love notes and things back. It's like, thanks for being part of the family. Thanks for being wonderful, because you guys make it easy to make sure we're not insane in this industry that we've all chosen to be part of. And also just to be there and be that extension and be in front of the client and be like a genuine representation and extension of like what we are here based in Vegas. Like, thank you guys for your work and for all you do. I mean, it's really not an easy space to be in, trying to book yourself all the time. And like, think especially with like the pandemic and everything crazy going on, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. You guys are getting like smacked in the face with it, like undeniably. And I mean, you guys have chosen not an easy path to take to make a living. And so thank you for choosing to make a living this way and help us keep on helping others so we can do really cool stuff with cool people. So thank you.
Yeah, oh, that's great. Well, with it being Friday, and like I said at the beginning, everyone's got plans tonight of just probably sitting where they're exactly sitting right now.
Yeah.
This has been episode number 2 of Trusted Heard Live. We're going to try to do one of these every weekday throughout the whole month of April. I think we only have like 5 days left that we can book. So if you're listening, please, reach out to me if you'd like to tell your entrepreneurial story. I know workers have been loving it. The other side is on Monday, we have Buffy, who is the head of Forte Marketing. And then on Tuesday, we have Jade Edwards, who's the head of A+ Staffing. And then we have, I haven't announced it yet, so keep your eye on the Facebook page and do the event. So McCall, again, thank you so much. And congratulations on your new baby boy as of 48 hours ago.
Thank you.
And look forward to seeing everybody on Monday, and enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, McCall. Guys. Thanks for having us, Brian.
All right.